to demonstrate and the right of
The European Parliament in Brussels last week passed a resolution condemning the actions of the Uganda government in handling the events that occurred in Arua district and afterwards following the municipality by-election.
President Museveni's vehicle was indeed attacked, but lethal force was used against protesters. Opposition politicians such as Robert Kyagulanyi were detained and allegedly even tortured.
In a 4-page statement issued on the 13th of September, the EU Parliament urged the Uganda government to drop what it described as trumped-up charges against Kyadondo East MP Robert Kyagulanyi, popularly known as Bobi Wine, and 33 others, and stop the crackdown on opposition politicians and their supporters. The EU Parliament also asked Ugandan authorities to immediately launch an effective, impartial and independent investigation into the killing of Bobi Wine's driver Yasin Kauma and reports of death, torture and mistreatment of suspects. However, government has objected to the resolutions, saying the EU was unnecessarily interfering in the internal processes of a sovereign country.
That a parliament in Europe should pass a resolution asking our courts to drop charges instead of calling on the courts of Uganda to be as transparent as possible, to do correct investigation and let the course of justice take its course. We see this as premeditated attempt to hijack and subvert our institutions.
Executive Director of the Foundation for Human Rights Initiative, Dr. Livingstone Sewanyana, says the move was long overdue.
For a long time, human rights reports against Uganda have not been favorable. And it seemed to be on the reverse. We have been experiencing a serious democratic backlash. And these agencies are now waking up and saying, look, you can't continue to do this.
Uganda is a big recipient of aid from the European Union. In the last 5 years, the country has received about 570 million euros, approximately 2.5 trillion shillings, mainly in budget support. Opondo says Uganda cannot be held at ransom by European countries because of aid.
We are not calling for the withdrawal of their support, but we are asking them that let them respect our values.
We are supposed to respect human rights. Respecting human rights is not an economic undertaking. In itself, it is more of a moral undertaking.
Opondo argues that Uganda's good bilateral relations with China might have triggered the EU Parliament resolutions.
Does it surprise that when Africa and Uganda in particular is having reinvigorated relations with China, we are getting bamboozled, accosted by Western media, by Western governments? We think part of this is related to our emerging relationship with China.
Opondo claims that many members of the European Parliament don't know much about Uganda and could have been fed with lies from opposition politicians and some local NGO allies.
So one cannot say that these are mere lies. One needs to appreciate, and government needs to appreciate, that human rights is a concern of everyone. Governments, intergovernmental agencies, United Nations agencies, everybody is concerned about human rights.
Dr. Sewanyana warns the government of likely consequences if security operatives accused of abusing human rights are not brought to book.
Among those that could be sanctions, trade embargoes and the like. Therefore, let's not look at it in that context that the North is interfering with us mainly because they give us funding. That's not the case. They are seeking the responsibility of government to uphold its obligations, among those respect for human rights.
Opondo says government is yet to officially receive a copy of the EU Parliament resolutions. Ali Mivule, NTV.